Park. Number one, I want to, on behalf of the citizens of Fort Monroe National Park, congratulate and welcome Dr. Lee to the Fort Monroe Authority Board and thank her for her interest in Fort Monroe and willingness to give her time to this national treasure. And we stand ready to assist her in any way. Number two, there was some discussion about historic buildings earlier that the chairman led. And I just wanted to comment on one document I didn't hear mentioned. The programmatic agreement between the Fort Monroe Authority and the State Department of Historic Resources, the National Park Service, and others speaks directly to the issue of historic buildings, contributing buildings at Fort Monroe. And it does, in certain very limited circumstances, allow for the removal of even an historic building if all other alternatives are deemed unfeasible after a process involving stakeholders and VDHR and others. So it's important to remember that that overriding document is there and it speaks to the question. Finally, I thank Superintendent Brown and his consultant for addressing the Dog Beach situation. At the same time, on behalf of our group, I want to express some frustration over Dog Beach. I think those who've been around Fort Monroe for a while can recall meetings, I think as long as 10 years ago, where we were looking at the contaminants at Dog Beach and what would be involved in removing them and to what extent they need to be removed. We've got to find a way to get past discussing this and paying consultants, with all respect to our consultant, and I thank him for being here. We need to get people out there actually doing the work of removing and remediating what needs to be done. This is an integral part of the National Monument, and the public is being denied the benefit of it now and seemingly for some time in the future. And if it's all because two government agencies can't get their heads together and make an agreement, I think others need to get involved, including the Fort Monroe Authority, who has, if this is one Fort Monroe, has just as much interest in getting this place open as the National Park Service, so it can be enjoyed by people. And we may need to invite the governor, who's very interested in this, and making this one of his priorities. Governor McAuliffe was very instrumental in getting the deal with the Army so that the Marina and North Gate properties could be transferred. Maybe the governor can get involved in getting an agreement between the two agencies on this property, which after all is not going to be intensively used for no one has ever suggested new construction up there or anyone living up there or planting a garden or running a farm up there. So it seems like the opportunities for the public to be exposed to contamination up there are pretty limited, with the intended use of recreation, bird watching, hiking, beach combing, or whatever else might be feasible up there. So thank you, and appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark, very much.